What's your favorite thing to teach? What do you like to teach?
The ecological approach.
Do you? Okay, tell me about that.
So the way, and I don't know if this, I'm probably gonna mess this up, but
no, it's okay. Like I understand. I understand like what it is. What the thing for me is, what's really hard for me to understand is how you can apply the ecological system into more complex guards in the gi.
Gotcha. Okay, so let me give you a pitch for the ecological approach. With the ecological approach, you're putting somebody in a situation and then you're telling them what they need to do to win that situation. The reason why that's effective is that with jiu-jitsu, you have people that are 4'6", 75 pounds, all the way up to, 6'8", 350 pounds, right? Somebody that's, 6'8", 350 pounds, their mobility is going to be different. Their body lengths, like the length from their shoulder to their fingertips, is going to be different than somebody who's 4'6".
Yeah.
So their leverage points, their biomechanics are going to differ than that person. So if you're teaching just one, like one drill or something, or one technique, that technique might work for the body type that you're teaching it for, but it doesn't work for all body types.
Right.
And you see this like when you demonstrate a technique and you send it out to the students. Some students get it right away, and then some students are just struggle bus, right?
100%, yeah.
And it's just like their body doesn't recognize that technique yet, right? Yeah. With the ecological approach, you say, okay, you're in this guard. Your goal is to get from full guard to half guard. You know what I'm saying? And so they have to figure out how they're going to use their body, their own body, to create leverage, to maybe break the feet apart, to kind of back up, so they start to learn the movement for their body as opposed to the technique that was shown to them.
Yeah. And how do you change the approach when somebody's like brand new? Like you can't say full guard and closed guard to somebody who doesn't even know what that means and expect them to execute, right? How do you work that? Work through that? That's
a good question. I think, and there's not a good answer for that either. As a brand new student, everything's going to be overwhelming. Like that's one of the things about getting into any complex modality, right? Is you're like, as a beginner, you're going to feel overwhelmed with the amount of information you're given.
Yeah.
Right. So for a brand new white belt to say, go from closed guard to half guard, maybe for them, you modify the position to say, break the guard. Like whatever you can do to separate their legs behind you, that's your goal.
Okay.
So it's I forget the name of it, but it's like you modify.
There's really no difference between like the traditional and ecological. Like you got to dumb it down accordingly, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So I guess what I would do is I would say you need to apply as much pressure as possible to their feet to get them to separate.
Yeah. And you could see, exactly. Yeah. So the goal, like your process to the goal is applying as much pressure to the feet as you can.
Yeah.
How you do that is going to be based on your body type. They're going to have to, like a chess player, they're going to have to figure out where can I put my hands to create enough leverage to push my back into the feet, or maybe I reach back and I push one of the legs down. They get caught doing that. And then they're like, okay, I got to watch for that leg coming over for the arm bar, right? So, so it starts to teach them in their own body how to get to the position that's the goal for that particular task-based game.
That's cool, man. Yeah. I don't dabble in. I feel like I use a lot of the ecological games as warm-ups for my no-gi guys. But I'm not going to go in there and change my entire approach unless I know exactly what the hell I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way in hell that, as a blue belt, I would have been teaching complex guards. I didn't understand them well enough. You know what I mean? Right, totally. And I feel like there's been so much research done by people who are obviously smarter than I am on this ecological approach, and they're able to implement it with a lot more effectiveness than I ever could unless I dedicate the time to it. Holy shit, I don't want to dedicate the time to it.
No, I totally get it.
Yeah. But I won't shit on it. No way. No way.
I think both approaches are incredibly effective. I think, how would I put this? Like, as an instructor, it's obviously up to you to which style you're going to use and incorporate.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're mutually exclusive necessarily,
so
right?
Yeah.
And like you said, I use this for my warm up for my no-gi guys, right? And so it could be that, maybe in certain conditions, you're like, the ecological approach really works in this particular case, but hey, if I'm just showing this particular technique, I'm not going to go send it out to the ecological approach when I kick it back to the students.
And one of the reasons I started using it is like in the gi, I was teaching a fundamentals class, and I'm teaching people how to build frames to escape side control, right? And, I'm showing them like, I do this and I do that and the elbows go here and yada, yada, yada. Well, I mean, I'm walking around and one of the students is like, hey, I just went like this and I got my elbow in. I'm like, keep doing that. Yeah. And that's very much ecological, right? That's basically them solving the puzzle without looking at the picture, right? I mean, so I dig it, man. Anything that like, the easy thing for somebody who came up like I did and is as old as I am is to be like, that's new shit, not doing it, shit all over it. But honestly, like if you do that, now you're taking away something that could potentially help your students in a big way, right? So you can't close your mind to it.
Right.
So there is the proof has like been shown pretty recently. They had a kid that beat a couple of big time guys and he does the eco approach exclusively, I think.
And the reason for that isn't necessarily like it's because he used the ecological approach. It's because his learning style really resonates with that approach.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not necessarily, this approach works for everybody.
Right.
Some people are very like very point A to point B oriented. Like you start here, this hand goes there, and they have to think through it that way because that's the way they process information.
Yeah.
But some people are more like tacit information processors. And so the ecological approach really works well for them. It worked well for me. So Jay didn't start teaching the ecological approach until I think I was a black belt. Maybe it was right before I did. But when I rolled ecologically. I never had an A game where it was like, okay, I'm in half guard. I always do this from the half guard.
Right.
It was always based on how I feel their body coming into me. And then like, where are my leverage points? Like, where's the best place that I can leverage to move them to get a reaction?
Yeah.
And so like for my learning style, my learning style resonated with the ecological approach without me knowing I was doing the ecological approach.
That's cool.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I love that.
So I was always like 100% of the time in open mat, I was never just trying to win. I was just like, hey, I'm in this position. I'm going to try something different.
Yeah.
If it works, it works. If it doesn't, I'm going to go back to the drawing board. And then like when something would work, I would keep trying it on every single person that I rolled with until like I was like, okay, yeah, this works pretty good.
Yeah.
And then that kind of gets incorporated into my game with my intuitive game without me like thinking about it.